Hey guys, on this episode of The Open Road, doing things a little bit differently. We're actually down at the 2019 Fielddays. We're going to go check out what all the new manufacturers have got on offer, and there's a few special vehicles thrown in there too. Let's go have a look. So we're on the Holden stand right now. Probably had a lot of coverage of Holden on the show lately and a lot of the other content as well. So we're actually really familiar with a lot of the vehicles on offer here. The big thing with Holden at the moment is that they're sort of not moving away from the Commodore, but certainly putting more focus on the SUV range, which is why they've got the Rocks here, which is a pretty awesome bit of kit, which we're going to actually have a closer look at in more depth in another episode of the show. But if you want to see it now, it's right over there. So behind me is the Trax. It's one of the few vehicles Holden's got on offer at the moment that we haven't done a review on. It's probably not something that we would do a review on because it's not really our demographic, but for a little like hot 1500 little SUV, it's good for a giggle. So of course Holden being Holden, the Colorado, particularly the Fielddays, is one of the real backbones of their brand at the moment. There actually are quite a lot of variants with the Colorado, and that's also including the offerings from HSV, which kind of doesn't count but kind of does. But as you see how far they've gone with the Rocks, you can actually get a pretty good package straight out the gate with an LTZ Colorado these days. And as you know, we've had a lot of time in the Trailblazer, which is basically a Colorado for a family, which is a brilliant truck. So overall, there's some good offerings here, but I think we'll carry on. Mercedes is right across the street, so let's go see what they've got. In my first look at the X-Class Mercedes, it does feel very Mercedes, but as yet we haven't had one to review, so hopefully that happens quite soon, but it feels pretty nice. Interesting thing about this is it's a V6 as opposed to a sort of straight 6 turbo diesel, and it's 190 kilowatts, which is impressive, but V6, do you really want all that rev instead of the torque? I guess the proof is in the pudding, we have to review one. But it does feel very nice inside. These Mercedes-Benz Sprinters are actually getting really popular with the whole van life community, hashtag van life. And I mean, they seem like base level really nice trucks. The more commercial ones are the more popular ones, of course, because they're more of a blank canvas, but I gotta say, these ones are really nicely appointed. And there's not really anyone really doing this unless you look at a Toyota Veilfire, which is not New Zealand new and very, very, very expensive, so it's all interesting. I like vans. So again, with seeing how far things can be pushed, Mercedes have answered back to what Holden did with the Rock. This is the RVE. It's a pretty impressive thing. It's quite nice to see that the manufacturers are now sort of showing off what's capable of these vehicles when you really start adding a few fruity bits and pieces. So it's nice to see that they're thinking of that. Old Land Cruiser 70 series. It's a beaut. It's a great truck. They've obviously wanked this one up a little bit to make it a little bit cool with all the accessories and stuff, but the bones of this is one of the best trucks ever made. We actually drove down here in a VX Land Cruiser 91, so yeah, we're pretty big fans of Toyota, to be fair. The Toyota stand's actually quite busy, it's actually quite loud, we don't want to get copyright struck into music, so the pretty much everything you would expect. The new Hilux is here and we're looking forward to test driving that soon. Unfortunately the new Supra's not here, but that's coming and we're going to do a video on it. Other than that, it's pretty much the old faithfuls that Toyota have always had, so it's pretty cool. So this is the LX450 Lexus. I haven't driven this particular one yet. It is sort of their Land Cruiser, which is probably why Lexus has a stand at Fielddays. There is the new UXF Sport, which I'm quite keen to go have a look at, which is right over there. But yeah, no, this is a nice truck. It's when you remember where Lexus and the relationship with Toyota comes in, particularly when they used to do the old Land Cruisers in the mid-90s, and they have very much drifted apart, and this is a whole nother level up. So this is the UXF. This is a new car for Lexus. Basically it's on a Corolla platform, but it's obviously the Lexus version, so it's got all the nice extras on top of it that Lexus do with their relationship with Toyota. And I gotta say, having just come out of a Corolla review, it's very nice, and it is quite a long way from what the Corolla was, so quite keen to get behind the wheel of this and do a proper review, so of course stay tuned for that. here at the Ford stand. Obviously the Ranger is their truck that they're pushing as well. They've got the Mustang in there, a few other bits and pieces, so it's a bit loud in there. Might not be able to get too much talking, but let's go have a look, see what they got. So yeah, the Ranger's obviously one that would be keen to get a bit of a test drive on, to get a review on, just so we can compare it to the others really. So Ford, here's the call. It's the VW Amarok. This one's been a bit kind of cooled up, lowered with the fancy wheels. Let's go check out the proper one. I haven't reviewed one, but I've heard a few friends have got Amaroks for their work cars, so I'm sort of familiar but never properly reviewed. So inside the Amarok, actually, this is the first time I've been in a current one, and in terms of niceties, it's actually really up there. I mean, being part of the Volkswagen Audi group, you've got that European pedigree and backing from the big companies, so that's really nice. But no, it feels very premium, and I'm really looking forward to hopefully getting one off-road and really testing it out. You can tear that up, can't you? This is pretty cool. This appeals to the van lifer in me. This is it's a VW van, but it's obviously factory kitted out as a camper, pop-top camper, and it's actually quite well appointed. This is pretty neat. So speaking of vans being cool and how far people are pushing their standard vehicles to be really extreme, VW went a little bit different. They did it with a van. This is a four-wheel drive, jacked up, big tyres, snorkel, off-road van, which, as those of you that know me know that this is my cup of tea, so hopefully we can borrow this for a while and have a play with it, but regardless, it is pretty damn cool. Just stopping by to see our friends at the HSV stand. Obviously came all the way here, can't not stop and say hi. We've reviewed pretty much everything they've got already. So there's the facelift Camaro for this year, the 2019, and of course the Silverados. We've got videos on both of those, so just check the Open Road playlist and check those out. But yeah, also they got the Sports Cat, which is the HSV version of the Colorado. First time sitting in a current Triton. I gotta say, it does seem a little bit Spartan compared to coming out of that VW Amarok, but the nice thing is it's got a proper manual gearbox, which would lead me to believe that it's got a proper four-wheel drive system, which is probably a pretty good thing in a ute, and is becoming less and less common with all the newfangled technology. For me, I'm a bit old school. I like the old technology because it works and it's tough. Whether or not this is tough remains to be seen. Call us, we'll do a review. So this is the Hyundai hydrogen fuel cell car. It's a bit loud in here, we can't really talk to you about it, but it's a very interesting piece of new technology that hopefully, fingers crossed, we get a closer look at in the near future. It was a little bit noisy in there because they had the music going, but we did talk to the marketing team, and so we've teed up an i30, which was pretty neat because you remember we did the Seat Leon Cupra 300. Well, 202 kilowatts out of an i30 with a 6-speed manual and a third pedal, which I had to explain to our cameraman what that was for. That's going to be pretty cool for a hot hatch. I do like a little hot hatch, so looking forward to that. Make sure you hit the subscribe button. So to see the review on this Rox and on a lot of the other cars that we've seen here today, hit that subscribe button. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time on the Open Road. Cheers.